Welcome to We Are Soccer. It's Bundesliga Chat time. It's that time where we talk with our Bundesliga expert, Nate, about the games that have happened over the weekend. Nate, how you doing, buddy?
Always good. A wonderful day.
Wonderful day, wonderful weekend. Lots of good soccer up or over there in Germany from the Bundesliga.
27 goals again.
Yeah, lots of goals, man. I tell you what, again, if people are jumping on board the Bundesliga, I don't know what's wrong with them if they're soccer fans, because there's goals galore, and man, some of the skills you can see and some of the entertainment value is just phenomenal. So, if people don't already know, jump on the Bundesliga, guys. Pick a team, pick a couple of teams, pick some games in a weekend and watch, because it's really good. Why don't we start out with one that you're not so happy with? This game happened on Friday there.
There was no game on Friday, Craig.
Unfortunately, my friend, there was.
Nope. No, there wasn't. No.
You may not want to talk about it, but officially, RB Leipzig beat your Stuttgart 4-0. I mean, I watched that game and it was pretty entertaining. Leipzig, I got to be honest, they dominated, and it could have been worse. 4-0. They absolutely dominated. Stuttgart were lucky to walk out of there only losing 4-0.
I mean, that goes back to Stuttgart, a young team, a newer team, one of the younger ones in the Bundesliga. At least last year, they were probably close, top 5 easy this year. Mm-hmm. They're out 3-4 players that probably would have helped make it more competitive. Probably not a win, probably competitive. Leipzig is a good side. Leipzig has, I think, 13 international players that are on the team. They're stacked. Marsh is a good coach. So it just is what it is. You know, they were outplayed by a better team. And, you know, with the extra help, maybe they could have kept it a little bit closer and respectable. But I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, Leipzig's got that game.
Leipzig's going to be up. They're going to be top 3 again last year.
Remember
to Bayern, they are going to be a team to contend with Bayern this year.
Yep. They were contended last year. It was a narrow game, came down to the last 2 games. If it wasn't for them losing that last game, they could have got first last year. So, and here we go. They got a new striker. You know, Silva's in, who was the 3rd leading goal scorer last year, who was a phenomenal player, had a great overhead kick, got on the score sheet with a penalty. And then this Hungarian, Sobelza, who signed last year but didn't play because of injury, is a phenomenal player.
Yep.
You know, with his 2 goals that he had. So almost that right there makes him a better team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll move on. I know you don't want to talk too much about that game, but it was a game for Leipzig and a good win for them. You're right, though. Stuttgart showing a little bit of their age, a bit young, but they'll come good. As we talked about before, they're going to be a top side this year to contend. Yep. Next came the Saturday games. We had Frankfurt 0 and Augsburg 0. You were telling me pre-talk here that one of the coaches could be on the hot seat there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Frankfurt, they're struggling. There wasn't a loss, but it wasn't a win yet. They're still waiting. Augsburg, they're struggling. There wasn't a loss, but it wasn't a win yet. So as it goes on, Frankfurt being a side that usually, you know, the last few years finished quite well, this coach doesn't get his act together, it's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Only on match day 2. Long way to go. Long season ahead.
Yeah.
Next on the list was Hertha Berlin 1, Wolfsburg 2. Kind of an interesting game there. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Oh, Wolfsburg, I mean,
60% of the possession, by the way.
Yeah. And now they're sitting number 2 or number 1 in the league.
Yep.
They just signed Waldschmidt, a German international who has been playing over in Portugal there, who should actually come be very good for him in the striking rotation. They're one of those teams that aren't talked about much, but have a lot of talent. And I think, again, you know, Hertha, they came out, they scored first. It was looking good. After John Brooks kicked the guy in the ankle type maneuver. Oops. Penalty kick happens, whatever. But then they came through. Again, they were a top 4 team last year. And when we were talking on the We Are Soccer show, I left them out of a contention wrongly. they're in the contention as well as one of those teams that easily could be in that top 4 mix. It's going to be close this year.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't think you'd be putting them in that high this year, but there you go, guys.
Yeah.
All right, next on the docket, Freiburg 2, Dortmund 1. This one, man, this really took me by surprise. I had a little money on this game, obviously on Dortmund. It didn't work out well for me. I'll read off some stats real quick here. Excuse me. Freiburg had 24% of the possession. They had 7 shots and only 4 of them were on goal. Dortmund, obviously the other, had 76% of possession, 18 shots and only 4 on goal. Lots of fouls in this game, 28 fouls total. This game, I mean, Dortmund had 10 corner kicks to Freiburg's nothing. They had no corner kicks. Freiburg come out winning 2-1.
Right when Griffko set up for the free kick, I went, wouldn't it be weird if this went in and that's how this game is won?
There was.
And sure enough, once he cracked that thing went in. And that's all it was. If Freiburger is one of those sides when they play at home, they're tough to beat. That field, unfortunately, that I think it's one of the last times they're playing on that home field, which is smaller than the normal regulation standard European fields, has apparently a slight slant in the corner. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's a weird odd field to play on. It can catch you offside. Yeah, I'm dead serious. It can catch you. It can catch any visiting team. Unfortunately, they're actually going to a newer modern stadium. It kind of makes me sad that it's actually going down. Dortmund had their opportunities. Bellingham had a great opportunity and just kind of smacked it right at the goalkeeper. That thing goes left or right. They're on the board. It's a little bit different. Technically, Dortmund never scored, though.
I was going to say.
Their one goal came from an own goal. So.
Yes, it was an own goal. It's a cross. Reina laid the ball off. The ball was crossed. Bellingham made the run. He whiffed on it because it came in so hot, about knee height, and they went off the defender in the net. So technically it was 2-1, and Dortmund didn't score.
That
was a bit of a strange game. And Haaland didn't have his best game, obviously. I don't know. That's, every team and every league goes through something like that, right? Where you dominate 76% of the possession, 10 corner kicks to 0, and you still can't put the ball in the net. It's just good teams find ways to get points from those games. Great teams find ways to eke out wins. Kind of just shows that Dortmund aren't a great team. They might be a good team, but they're not a great team.
But I think, like you just said, rewinding back, match day 2, we'll see what happens. Still a new coach, still trying to find their way. Yep. I mean, granted, Munich, is struggled. They didn't look that great against Cologne, and I'm sure we'll get to that in a minute. But they're struggling a little bit on Nagelsmann right now. So I will say this. Dortmund is desperate for their center backs to come back. They have Axel Wetzel, a defensive mid player, playing center back. It's just not good enough. Mm-hmm. So that second goal, in my opinion, was a bit of bad marking in the box. You get Hummels, you get one of those guys out there who've been injured. They've had like 3 or 4 injuries on their center back line. That's why Wetzel's playing back there. That fixes that situation. So hopefully they'll get their center backs back, and it'll be a bit of a different story.
Sure. Understood.
But center back ain't stopping that free kick.
No, center back ain't stopping. That was a brilliant free kick. I agree. Very well struck. Next on the list, we have Guther Firth 1 and Bielefeld 1. I don't know, not exactly a game that we had marked down to be the most entertaining value. There was a red card in the game.
No.
Firth had 65% of possession, but again, 1-1. Spoil of the points there. So
the only thing to note on that game is apparently one of the Bielefeld players thought Julian Green was playing American football and actually tried to tackle him, and that's why the red card actually happened, which was pretty funny. They got confused. He saw American and was like, "I got him." Literally, he had both hands around him. It was a 1-1 slugfest. Firth has struggled to win at home, apparently. Is what it is. That wasn't one of the highlights of the weekend, but it was a solid tie for first.
Both those teams will struggle this year, I feel. We'll see how it
Yeah.
goes out, though. Then we had Bochum 2 and Mainz 0. This game, I don't know. For some reason, before the game kicked off, I thought Mainz would end up taking this and really end up running away, but wasn't to be. It was a complete opposite. Bochum, like we said, 2-0 winners.
Well, yeah, it's Bachem.
Sorry.
You got a German pronunciation.
Whoa, my English to German is not the greatest.
It's the double dots over the O.
I blame ESPN.
Here's the thing. 4,000. That was the first home game in Bachem's 4,000 days that they used to be a really good team back in the day. They haven't been in the Bundesliga in 4,000 days is the stat that I read.
Wow.
And that was their first home game. So these guys were on fire, ready to win. My favorite goal of the whole thing that we get to the whole week was from the Bachem player Holtman, who literally dribbled, and we watch it. He dribbled from the half, beating 6 players and essentially around the whole team just to score.
Amazing.
They were really, really jazzed to play this game. I think it had to do with the fact that it was their first home game in Bundesliga in a very long time for a very historic club that just hasn't been there in a while. So, but I would agree with you. I would normally say Mainz, would have that easily won. I thought Mainz is going to win it, but the home crowd, the players just being excited for taking part of it, I think pulled them through.
Mainz had majority of the possession. They had more corner kicks. They had more.
They're the better team.
They were the better team, but they just couldn't get the job done. And it sounds like a little bit of with Bachem that almost that Brentford effect, right? Brentford's first game in the Premiership a couple weeks back, they spanked Arsenal 2-0 and could have been more because they were so fired up. So same type of thing there, right? So
motions play through sometimes.
Yep. Next on the last Saturday game was Leverkusen versus Mönchengladbach. 4-0 winners, Leverkusen. Man, some good goals in that game, huh?
The FIFA 2020 beta glitch game of the year. Yes. So we have the Sumer own goal where it hits the post, hits his leg, and rolls in.
Yep.
We have the Dave's goal, which was actually they gave him the goal, but it's actually a deflection because it hit off the inside of the player and then went in.
Yeah.
And then you had the Amari goal where Sumer saved it, both hands on it, and it just rolled and went in. And I felt at the end of the match there was 3 goals there. Only one was a pure goal from Leverkusen. I felt so bad for Sumer. I'm just you have the worst luck. That game, I watched the highlights with my wife. I watched the full game, and then we watched the highlights. And Michelle looked at it and went, wow, that keeper's bad. And I'm like, no, he's actually one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
I'm he's having a bad day. He's having a very bad day.
The one that he got both hands on, though, he's got to save that one.
He's got to push it aside.
The other one where it bounces off the post and he looks as it goes past and goes back off his leg and in okay. That one that's just bad luck for a goalie.
But even the third goal where it hit the player's leg and then deflected the other way, there's not much you're doing there.
No, goalkeepers can't do much on a deflection. You're absolutely right.
And Gladbach had a penalty kick and missed it.
Yep.
Because it shot right at the goalkeeper and saved. Gladbach had their chances.
Yeah.
And it was Leverkusen's night that night, but it was a very, very entertaining game to watch. Very entertaining. That
was a very FIFA glitch type game, as you called it. You won the one goal you did fail to mention was one Patrick Schick, who was had some great goals in the Euros, right? So he had that was a nice pure strike from a striker. Great goal.
Yes, and that was the only solid goal that wasn't glitchy. But other than that, if you were playing this game online, you're throwing your controller down, shutting off your system, and going, F this crap, I'm done. Done. Screw this. This doesn't happen in real life. This is bullshit.
I agree.
Well, it does, apparently.
It does happen in real life, as we saw.
It does.
Then we moved on to the Sunday games where we had two. The first game was Hoffenheim and Union Berlin, which ended in a 2-2 draw.
Yep. And Hoffenheim's looking good. I mean, Hoffenheim is looking pretty solid. It was a decent 2-2 game. We'll see if they can keep up the momentum, though, because that'll be hard for them because they don't have, outside of Kremik, they don't really have that great of a squad, in my opinion. But we'll see if they can, keep going. Hoffenheim is a Baden-Württemberg city. They're about 30, 40 minutes from Stuttgart. I drove by them and a lot of cow fields that surround the field area. Yeah, that's right. On my way to the big city.
On your way to the big city.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, the other game that happened on Sunday, the first half was very boring. And then the second half came alive. Bayern Munich versus Cologne. I tell you what, I didn't expect this game to be so close, but like we said, it came alive in the second half. Lewandowski scored the first one in the 50-minute mark. Serge Gnabry, another one in the 58th minute there. And then all of a sudden, Cologne tied it up with two close goals in the 60th and 62nd minute. And then another Gnabry goal to win it. Quite a game there. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah. I thought the game came alive when they subbed on Jamal Musiala. I think Musiala is a solid player. He's an exciting player, and that's when really things started shaking and moving and really working for him, which is funny because he subbed on for Sane. So they pulled off one player that I thought was good, and then they put on Musiala and just kind of changed it up. This actually game was a bit historic. From the fact that München actually just set the EU scoring record, beating out Madrid. That was apparently set in 2016, 2017 with 74 scoring in 74 straight matches. So it tells you the type of, it tells you the type of game, team that München really is this team. They beat that. I think Ronaldo was on that team in 2016. So they have now blown past them at 74 straight matches with goals. During that time, actually scored, about 214 goals. Here's the interesting part. Lewandowski has scored like about 30% of those 214 goals. He had 74 of the 214. The next closest player, Nagby, with 24.
Oh, I was going to guess Mueller, but that makes sense to be Nagby.
Mueller's at 21. So, but he has scored like the majority of those goals. We talked again on the Saturday show about the possible if Lewandowski moving and the impact he has on that club and how good he is. And you can see it just in that stat. 30% of the 214 goals in the last 74 matches came from it.
Yeah, man, no team can afford to lose a player who's been involved in 30% of their goals. I mean, that's just the goals though, right? That's not the goal scoring opportunities and the chances and the assists.
No, that doesn't include assists, doesn't include any type of other activity that he's involved in, within that. That's just pure my foot net, 74. So
even at Lewandowski's age, doesn't matter.
Well, he's not slowing down. I mean,
he's need to throw money at him and keep him there.
He's pretty much scoring at every match he plays in still. So Nagby's goals were very good. The 71st minute goal was really good. That how it just slid in the side. We'll see. I think München's going to have these games where they struggle a bit because I think they're still trying to feel out Nagelsmann. I think they're still trying to understand.
They had a few preseason games, and now they've had two full games under the belt with him. But it takes time to get a new coach and new tactics. So it's going to take time.
And you toss that in with all the players they lost, but I'll tell you, Sewell looked really good carrying that ball forward from München. Really good. Yeah. I think at one point he did basically a Maradona on a player, and normally I don't see that from the center back, but he just like whoop went around. And I was like, all right. Yeah. All right, I guess you did that.
Yeah,
that's ballsy.
Yeah. You're like, all right, great.
Yeah, ballsy. Nice work.
So obviously some good games. The final one there, Bayern beating Cologne 3-2. So we went through some of the goals. Give me your goal of the weekend there from the Bundesliga, Nate. Are you going to go with the that free kick in the Bochum game?
No, I gotta go with Holtman dribbling through just basically everyone and scoring. Yeah. I thought that really was. I mean, I like this Sylvie's 35-yard goal. I thought Griffo's free kick for Freiburg was great. Nagby's goal was great, but I don't know. It's just something about somebody carrying the ball through 6 players and basically around the team scoring, and then the rest of the players looking at each other, going like this, like, why didn't you tackle him? What was your deal? And yeah, it was just if you got a chance, go watch it because it is pretty intense. And you're like, why isn't he passing? Why he's going? It reminds me of a Craig Hearn just dribbling down the field through everyone and his team yelling at him to pass, and he refuses and then scores, and they're happy.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Everybody yelling, except for when you miss and the team yells at you.
Then they continue yelling, but he didn't. So
that was a very impressive goal. I'm going to say that was probably that might be my goal of the weekend as well. All over the world, actually, there were some great goals this weekend. There were some really good goals in MLS. There was one really good goal in the PSG game in Ligue 1. And then Danny Ings for Aston Villa scored a brilliant bicycle.
Waiting for it.
Yeah, man. There are great goals all over the world this past weekend. So
yeah.
Long may it continue. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up another Bundesliga chat time. Nate, thank you as always, man. Your insights and expertise on Bundesliga and everything German soccer is very much appreciated. We love having you, buddy.
I'm just a guy who watches videos.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with watching videos on soccer. It's what we all do, right? All right, my friend.
True.
Right, we'll wrap it up. Thanks again, buddy. Cheers.
Bros.